Quantum physics says that the only things that can be created are the things that are being observed. Think about that, man. Think about the power in that. And I know it's Saturday, man. I know y'all got some chitlins to deep fry and some Super Bowls to watch, man. So I'm gonna keep it quick, man. But you gotta understand the power in what I'm talking about. If Quantum Leap says that the only things that can be created or the things that are being observed, and this has been proven, this is nothing new, then the question is, to a person whose life is unfavorable, the question should be, what in the hell am I observing? What am I observing? And I'm not finna waste your time on talking about what we observe. All you gotta do is go to your Instagram Explore page. Oh, it's gonna tell you exactly where your mindset is. It's going to tell you exactly what you've been looking at. Go to your YouTube search history. Go to your Google search history. Go to Chat GPT and say, Chat, what is it I've been deep diving in over the last several weeks or several months? And Chat might hurt your feelings. Chat might say, hey, you know what? You've been looking up, twerking this and whatever, and you haven't been locked in. And what's taking place is, you have to understand that everybody is in God mode. Like a person can't, we talk about walking in our I am and all that kind of stuff all the time, as if there's a select few people that walk in their I am. You have to understand that everybody is walking in their I am. It's just unconscious. And they're letting some other force predict their own future by putting something in front of them. So what's taking place is, it's not that a person isn't walking in that God state. A person is just regurgitating the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. If I'm eating hog maws and fatbacks and Doritos every day, at no point in time can I want something else to result from that than what's always resulted. You understand what I'm saying? So that's part of it. Now, let me say this. Because the power is not necessarily in just redirecting your attention. To get a change in life, yes, taking your mind off of the twerking videos or whatever has your attention and putting it on things that are positive will begin to get life out the mud. Let me get a little water. We'll begin to get life out the mud. But if you're trying to quantum leap, you got to move slightly different. You have to move more in your God authority. I'm gonna say that, right? What say you, soul, in this God authority you speak of? I'm gonna tell you what, man. I'm gonna tell you something about the Bible, man. And we can all sit here and debate about the Bible, if it's real, if it's made up, if it's that, regardless of what side of the coin what side of the fence you're on, the Bible is still an inspirational book. But I'm gonna tell you this. The most knowledgeable information I've gotten out of the Bible is the information that I got at the very beginning. When you really want to understand who we are and what we're capable of and how we're supposed to be navigating in this realm, it's as soon as you open that thing up. I got it right here, brothers. Genesis 1. It says this. It says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. So let me pause for a second and go back to what I was saying. It's one thing, and it's a good thing, to go from focusing on negative news, focusing on why everybody hate each other, focusing on wars and rumors of wars. It's good to go from that to focusing on, how can I move forward? How can I get a better life? You know what I'm saying? How can I get it out the mud? How can I increase my value at work? How can I get more money in it's good to go from A to B, but to go to that next level, you know what I'm saying? To walk in that God state that we sometimes speak of, man, you got to do something slightly different. And again, that knowledge that I'm talking about is in Genesis 1. What do you mean, soul? You got to understand this. As soon as the book opens, it says that, hey, God came out to the scene and there was void and there was darkness and you know what I'm saying? And what God focused on was putting something in that void, right? Key. But you can't really pick it up until you look at the rest of the week, so to speak. If you look at the next 6 days, God, it said that God created this, God created that, God created the heaven and the stars, God created the moon and the turnip greens. What you observe is every day when it said God created XYZ, at the end of the day, God said, okay, you know what? I call it good. The next day, God didn't go back and look at what was created. God started all over again and focused on the void. And focused on the void again. Like, okay, I did that thing and it's good, but let me focus on expansion. Let me focus on expansion the whole week, so to speak. Every single day after something was done, it never talked about, and God went back and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to chill out and look at the sun that I created yesterday and kind of just chill. Because that energy understands that, hey, what's being observed is what's being created. And if I ever want my life to be in a loop and not be in a state of God, expansionness, if that's a word, then it's all about me focusing on the void. It's all about, and when I say focusing on the void, this is why it's a challenge to focus on the void. Because to focus on the void means you have to be moving in a certain energy. You know what I'm saying? Like in the power circle right now, man, we're wrapping up a series called Being Builders. And what we talked about in a nutshell is coming out of the mindset of being consumers and being builders. Really focusing on that void, focusing on what's not there in our lives, and expansion and expanding and speaking to that void and speaking to that darkness. So I'm gonna tell you this, man, if your life is doing the same thing over and over, man, what you're doing is you're focusing on what's already being created. And I'm not saying let's not appreciate what's being created. I'm not saying let's not be grateful for what's being created. But if you focus on it and consume yourself with it, you will never get a different outcome. You can't. You can't based on the power that you've been given. If God said, I'm going to create you, if God said, I'm going to create you in my image and you're going to move just like me, whether you know it or not, meaning you can go to all these religious services, like whether they tell you or not, you're moving just like me, whether they tell you or not. And having the power that I have made in my likeness, that wherever you put your energy, that's what is. Bro, like if that right there doesn't open up the gates of heaven and bestow blessings upon your life, I don't know what will. I don't know what will, man. I'm gonna tell you this, and this is something I really just observe. Well, I won't say just observed. I've observed this a while. Like this is something that I really been thinking about over the last 72 odd hours, right? I've been really thinking about how this world is so cunning. This world is so cunning, and I'm pertaining it to what we're speaking about now. Like a lot of times people are slaves to their algorithm. People are slaves to their algorithm. And what I mean by that is I made a video a few weeks ago where I was talking about the world is Jonestown. And I was referring to the, Jonestown incident that happened in the 19 whatevers, when Jim Jones made everybody drink the Kool-Aid. Like you gotta understand what that Kool-Aid is information. That Kool-Aid is information. That Kool-Aid is meta. That Kool-Aid is knowledge. That Kool-Aid is what's on your phone, what's on your feed, what's on your. And I was thinking about that, man. And like, for example, on Instagram, like I'll be scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, and it's like, I don't know where this search came from, but it's like every time a woman comes up on my feed, she's talking about how she hates men, how marriage is the worst thing on the planet, and how having children and how being a wife is the worst thing on the planet. And it's like, man, I never searched this stuff out. So why is this stuff coming in my feed? And I can find all kind of stuff about, hey, you know what? Everybody in the planet, hates these people and this right. Like this is what's being pushed out. But it's a matter of me choosing to digest it or choosing something else. I'm not saying there isn't any truth to all this stuff, but you gotta understand, you have to understand that what the world is doing is Understanding what's observed is what's created. What they're doing is just giving you doses of Kool-Aid every day. So a lot of people have just fallen victim to their algorithm. Falling like, and I'll just stick to relationships since that's what I brought up. You would think that based on what's coming through everybody's Instagram feed, coming through everybody's YouTube, you would think that men and women couldn't stand each other. You would really think that, man. There aren't a lot of men and women that just hate the opposite gender. But you got to understand, the world wants that divide. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand that there are more ways to making money than your job. But the algorithm isn't going to be putting that out in front of you. Like, if you don't take control of your own life and start quarterbacking and start making moves and start doing your own deep diving into other ways of being, but you'll fall victim to your algorithm. You'll be drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak. So the thing is, man, brother, you have to focus on the void. You have to focus on the void, and then going back to the quote I'm always talking about, have knowledge of your power. Have the courage to dare, and the faith to do. It takes a certain kind of man to move in that darkness. It takes a certain kind of man to move in that void and to speak life where nothing exists. It's alchemy. It's alchemy. It takes a certain kind of man to speak life into nothing. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Let me get a drink of water, man. So the question is, like when the Bible says, God said, when it said God looked upon the darkness and the face of the deep and the void and the darkness, and God said, let there be light. The question is, what are you commanding of the void, brother? With your authority and your power, what are you speaking into the darkness and standing on and bringing to existence? You can't fear the unknown, brothers. What are you speaking to the darkness? What are you speaking to? Oh, think about this. Are you even observing the void? Are you even observing the void? And I speak about this so many different ways on so many different occasions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always talking about the first marriage is man, and the benefit of coming together with your higher self and lower self is now God is present within you. Like, you've woken that thing up. And the thing about waking that thing up, you now see the world as God sees it, with nothing but love and compassion. And when you see the world with nothing but love and compassion, brother, you can see all your brothers and sisters. You can see, but the main thing you see is what's lacking. Like, in other words, what can I take this God power that I have and pour into to make mankind better? Once you understand that, brother, your life will never be it can't be the same. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about understanding that void, and then understanding what understanding the power that you have to pour something into it. The void is your canvas, man. And whatever it is you want to create, all you got to do is put that essence into nothing and stand in it and walk in it and become it and claim it and speak to it where nothing else exists. And I'm gonna tell you, once you start understanding that, then all the matter that currently exists, it'll be irrelevant, bro. All the things that currently exist will be irrelevant. Yes, you can have gratitude for them. Yeah, you can still, but you're focused on what's not there and how you can expand in that energy, man. So again, where is your attention, and what are you putting in the void, brothers?